Okay, we're going to keep practicing decimals on the grid and percentages and fractions. If we look at this grid, what are some of the ways we could label this grid about the amount that is shaded in? We could say 1 out of 10, because if we count, we have one full one shaded in, then there's 10 not. So we could say 1 out of 10. We could say 10 out of 100. How could we write that as a decimal? We could say what? 1% is shaded in? One out of 100? Or we could say just 1% is shaded in, or 1/100th of it. Which one is correct? They can't be the same thing because 1/10 is a lot smaller than or a lot bigger than 1/100th. I would say it is 1/10, wouldn't you? Not 1/100th. And how do we write that as a percent? It is 10% out of 100. Agree? Disagree? Move on. If I look at this, this is 1 out of 100, or 100%, or so when I said it looked like a whole lot different from 1% to 10%, there's 10% of it shaded. Here is 100% shaded, or 1% shaded. Huge difference between the two, so we have to be really careful. And a lot of that comes with their place value. So I think we really need to dig into this place value, and I think you need to put this down on your notes. If you look, anything in front of the decimal is a whole number. This is, and it goes right in order like we've always learned it. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, a million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion, and we could keep going that way. The unique thing about it is when you have a decimal, the decimal kind of, I think, always says, takes the place of the ones place. There is no ones place in a part of a whole. So the 4 is in the 10th place, just like this 10, but only it's not a whole number, so we had to put the th at the end. So we only got 4/10 of it. The 5 is the hundredths place. Notice here, it just has that th at the end. We're just going the opposite way. If you look, I kind of say these two, now these two, these two. So guess what the next one would be? The thousandths place. So if we put this 6 here, it would be the thousandths place. And if we would have kept going with our number, if we would have had one more, it would have been the 10,000ths. It would have been the same number here, only th at the end, meaning that's part of the whole. This, on this side, the number is always getting bigger. So when you go to the left of a decimal, it's always getting bigger. If we go this way of the decimal, the number is always getting smaller. 4/10 is a lot bigger than 5/100. I would rather have 4/10 of a candy bar than 5/100 of the candy bar. So it's the opposite. You really got to think opposite, opposite, and opposite, depending on which way you're going. If you're going left, it's always getting greater. If I'm going right, it's always getting smaller or less. Even this way, if I start going less, 1,000 is less than 700. That's huge to know. So let's go back and let's look at this. Oh, did you notice they split it even into smaller spots? And this is page 8 in your binder. So pull out page 8, and I think this is really interesting. Here we have it in the hundreds. So how many hundreds do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 25 out of 100. So this is 25 out of 100, or 25 hundredths of it is shaded in. Well, let's look here. Oh my goodness, this is out of 1,000. There's 1,000 there. So what do we have out of 1,000? Well, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 110, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200. 210, 20, 30, 40, 50. Oh, 250. So we have 250 out of 1,000. Well, how many zeros do we have? Well, guess what? If I want to put this into a decimal, I count how many zeros. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put a decimal right here, and I'm going to move it back. How many places? 3. 25 thousandths. Because remember, this is a decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Now, really, 25 hundredths and 250 thousandths is exactly the same or equivalent to each other. What would that be in a fraction? It's still 1/4 or 25 over, because if we would have moved all of these, we would have had 1 shaded in out of 4. They just keep getting smaller. Can you imagine how small the pieces would be if we went to 10 thousandths? Now, some of you might be wondering, why did I count 10? Well, because I know there's 10, everything's based on base 10. And if you noticed, when I went to 100, there's 10 in each row from 100s. Well, guess what? There's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 100 times 100 is 1,000. So if we look at this, what do we have? So this is on your paper on page 8. I'm sorry, the last one was page 7. Page 8, so let's count. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ooh, 12 and a half out of what? 100. Now we know that this could be what? What's half of 12? So what would this be then? Well, we know it's out of 1,000. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Ooh, if we said this was 130, that wouldn't be, but it would be what? 125, because half of 10 is 5. And if I moved it back, how many zeros I have to tell me my place value? 1, 2, 3. I have 125 thousandths. or 12 and a half over 100. What do we know that this half is? 0.5. We could move it ahead and we have 125. All right, hopefully this is starting to make sense to you. What I would like you to do is pages 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, or 15. 15 is homework. You should get those done. Stop and make sure you understand as a group. If you don't understand as a group, remember, call me over. We'll try and get this figured out so we understand, because everything builds on it.